Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Friday, September 23rd, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Helps us out a ton. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. Of course, I'm always running my $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Friday, September 23rd. First up, we see the Chicago Cubs taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Javier Assad and Bryce Wilson are the starters. You know, I'm not really loving either of these teams right now, so this is a game I'm probably staying away from altogether. But when you look at this pitching matchup, obviously Bryce Wilson is 6 ERA on the season. Javier Assad, however, on the other side, struggling in his last start, giving up 4 earned runs in only 2 innings of work, a home run, 4 walks allowed, and that was against the Colorado Rockies. And it would be one thing if that was at Coors Field, but that game was actually at Wrigley Field, so really concerning there to see him struggle against a Rockies team that doesn't really do too much offensively away from home. On the other side, you've got the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have been known to strike out quite a bit, and that's definitely the case in the last 30 days. They're the third highest strikeout rate against righties at 27.3%, but they do have the much better isolated power numbers. They also have the better team OPS numbers. I honestly think they have a little bit of a better bullpen as well. Not my favorite game on the board, but I'm going to lean towards the Pirates because we're getting a good price with them as the home dog, so give me Pittsburgh money line. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Cincinnati Reds. No official line out for this one. Right now, we see Eric Lauer and Mike Minor as the projected starters, but this could certainly change. And, something with this Friday card, a common theme is a lot of missing information, a lot of no lines out right now, missing lines, and that's going to be the case the last 10 days of the MLB season, regular season, as especially with the teams that have already clinched a playoff spot that really may be looking to rest their players, their everyday players in certain spots, even some of their pitchers in their rotation. We're going to have to stay on our feet. I'm going to be treading lightly the last 10 days of the regular season as we get ready for the postseason. And, some of these games, even between a team like the Milwaukee Brewers who are fighting for a playoff spot, we're going to see some missing pieces of information. So I'm seeing either Eric Lauer or Jason Alexander on the mound for the Brewers. Really, either option that the Brewers go here with, I think we're going to see some scoring from both teams. Mike Minor was a guy that was starting to improve, and now he's struggling yet again. His last 2 starts giving up 9 earned runs and 4 home runs in his last 8 innings of work against the Pirates and the Cardinals. That's just not going to get it done. And the Milwaukee Brewers are certainly not a great lineup against lefties, but they've been able to get to Minor early on this season for a few runs in the only start that he had against them. So I do think they'll get to him again, especially at Great American Ballpark, where Minor's numbers are even worse with that 6.22 home ERA and 0-8 home record. So as much as I may want to take the underdog, take a chance here with the Reds, it's just tough to do that with their starting pitcher struggling so much at Great American. But on the other side, I think the Reds will chip in a few runs offensively against Lauer, Alexander, and this Brewers bullpen. So give me the over. We'll have to wait and see what the official total is. I expect it to be in the probably 9 to 9.5 range, but give me the over. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Washington Nationals. Josiah Gray, and no official starter for the Marlins right now, so we're going to see no line for this game quite yet. But Josiah Gray this season on the road, 5-2 with a 3.96 ERA away from home, 76 strikeouts in 75 innings, and the home run balls really hurt him no matter where he's been. Whether it's been on the road or at home, he's given up 37 total home runs this season. However, the Miami Marlins aren't really the team that I think will be able to take advantage of that, as they're ranked 28th in the league in the last month in isolated power against righties. Their offense has struggled overall, and that's certainly been the power numbers. Their slugging percentage is way down, and their team OPS is dead last in the league against those righties in the last month. So I think Josiah Gray pitches well in this game, and I think he grabs a win for his team on the road. So give me the Washington Nationals on the money line in this one. Next up, we see the New York Yankees hosting the Boston Red Sox. This one on Apple TV+. Rich Hill and Garrett Cole are your starters. The Yankees are big-time favorites, and I do agree with where the line is. I like the Yankees laying the 1.5 runs here on the run line. Garrett Cole has faced the Red Sox quite a few times this season. He's had mixed results. The last time out, he went 6 innings. He had 10 strikeouts, but he did give up 4 earned runs. Now, the Yankees still won that game in the end in extra innings. In fact, the Yankees have won 4 of the last 5 starts that Cole has pitched in, with a few run line covers in that stretch as well. And I do think Cole will be good enough here for the Yankees to grab another run line cover. Rich Hill on the other side, a lefty that's pitched much better on the road this season, but he's facing a Yankees lineup that loves left-handed pitching. They've been very good against lefties basically all season long, and I do think that they'll be able to do some damage on Rich Hill in this game. I'm going to take the New York Yankees and lay the 1.5 runs. I think that the better team, the better starter, and the better bullpen. So give me the Yankees on the run line. In our next game, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. We're going to see Jake Odorizzi and Aaron Nola as the projected starters. These two pitchers just faced off against each other back on September 19th. It was a 4-3 win for the Braves in the end. Aaron Nola went 7 innings. He struck out 8 batters, but he gave up 4 earned runs and a homer in that game. While on the other side, Jake Odorizzi, he only went 4 2/3 innings, but he only gave up 1 earned run, and he had 5 strikeouts. So Odorizzi had the better start in that one, and the Braves got the victory. But I do think this is going to flip, and I do like the Phillies to win this one and get some revenge on the Braves here. Aaron Nola, like I said, he was able to strike out 8 batters. Overall this season, he's got 210 strikeouts and 186 innings pitched. I do think he is the much better starter in this game. And when you look at the Philadelphia Phillies in the last month, they have the number 1 team OPS against righties in the league. They have the number 3 isolated power numbers. And while the Braves' offensive numbers against righties have also been good, they haven't been good as the Phillies. So I do think the Phillies have the advantage, especially playing at home with the better starter, a starter that's going to be able to go deeper in games. And Jake Odorizzi in his last 5 starts, only going past the 5th inning twice, and only going to the 6th inning in each of those starts. So give me the Philadelphia Phillies on the money line. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to see Framber Valdez and Dean Kremer on the bump for this one. I think this is a clear pitching mismatch, and I like the Houston Astros on the run line here. I know the money line price really isn't too out of this world. It's only minus 155 right now, but I still think the Astros win this game going away. When you look at the statistics on paper, you got a Framber Valdez who has another quality start under his belt in his last game against the Oakland A's. I believe it's now 26 quality starts in a row from Framber. And, he's a left-handed pitcher, so when you look at the numbers for the Orioles against lefties in the last month, they have not been good at all. The Orioles are ranked dead last in the league in isolated power, and they're dead last in the league in team OPS. Their strikeout percentage is 6th ranked in the league as well during that stretch. So this is a nightmare matchup for the Orioles offensively. They faced the Tigers in the last series at Camden Yards, and the first 2 games, the Tigers started some young lefties in Tyler Alexander and Joey Wentz. Not only did the Tigers cover the run line as dogs, big-time dogs in those games, they also won the game outright 11-0, and I believe 3-2 as well. So the Orioles against lefties haven't been very good. Dean Kremer on the other side is a starter who's got a 3.3 ERA, and he's facing an Astros lineup that hasn't been fantastic against righties, but he's still got some regression concerns in his game that I would worry about. His xFIP is a lot higher than his current ERA right now in the 4s, and he's given up a home run in his last start against the Toronto Blue Jays. His strikeout numbers just haven't been there. He gave up 5 walks in that game against Toronto as well. So give me the Houston Astros on the money line, but also the run line in this game. In our next game, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. No official line right now, but right now we see Jeffrey Springs and Alek Manoah as the projected starters. Jeffrey Springs has been really good at Tropicana Field this season. 4-2 with a 1.94 ERA, 59 strikeouts in 55 2/3 innings at home. And his last start against these Blue Jays was back on September 13th. That one was on the road, and he went 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, no earned runs, and a 4-2 Rays victory. The Rays have won each of the last 4 games that Springs has pitched in, so he's got a lot going for him in this one. But Alek Manoah is also pitching really well as of late himself. Now, the control issues were there for him last start. He gave up 4 walks against the Orioles, only had 5 strikeouts in 6 innings, but overall, Manoah has been in really good form. He faced the Rays back on September 13th, 6 2/3 innings, so there was a doubleheader between the Rays and Blue Jays that day. 6 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. The Blue Jays won that game 7-2 in the end, so this is a tough one for me. I'm going to trust Jeffrey Springs and the Rays just a little bit more because they're their home team, because I think they have the better bullpen, and because I like the Rays matchup against Manoah just a tad more. They got 2 home runs on him in that game, so give me the Tampa Bay Rays in a lean on the money line. Next up, we see the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Texas Rangers. We're going to see Cody Morris and John Gray as the starters. Now, it's not going to be too often you're going to see the Rangers favored against a team with a big winning record like the Guardians, but I do think it makes sense here with John Gray on the bump facing Cody Morris, who's got some regression concerns right now. Morris's expected ERA is above 5, his xFIP above 4, and even though he's got that current ERA at 2.3, I do expect some regression as the season continues. And the Texas Rangers play their best ball at home. Their offense has actually been not too bad lately, and John Gray has been really sharp this season, pretty consistent for the Rangers this year. After a little bit of a bumpy start, he has been pretty much a straight shooter from that point. And his last start, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs against the Rays, 4 strikeouts. Now his offense didn't back him up in that game, but I do think they will be able to against Cody Morris here. So give me the Texas Rangers here on the money line as the favorite at home. In our next game, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Minnesota Twins. Shohei Ohtani going for the Angels. No official starter for the Twins right now. It's really been a few disappointing weeks for the Twins, as they're now well below 500. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, and now they get to face Shohei Ohtani after struggling offensively in that Royals series. Luis Arias has lost his lead in the American League batting average race, the batting title race, to both Xander Bogaerts and Aaron Judge. So it just hasn't been good for these Twins. Byron Buxton's been out for a while with an injury, and I don't like them in this series or in this game against Shohei Ohtani, as Ohtani's been fantastic on the mound this season, 13-8 with a 2.43 ERA, striking out plenty of batters along the way. I think the Angels are actually playing a lot better baseball right now than the Twins are, believe it or not, and I'm going to take the Angels in this one on the money line. Next up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Chicago White Sox. Eduardo Rodriguez and Lucas Giolito are the starters. I think this total is set just a little bit too low. Lucas Giolito has not pitched very well at home this season, 6.61 ERA in his home starts, and he's faced the Tigers a few times at home this year. His last time against Detroit at home was back on August 13th. He gave up 4 earned runs and 8 base hits. It wasn't a great start, and that game soared over the total. On the other side, we got Eduardo Rodriguez, who pitched pretty well against these White Sox the last time he faced them, 6 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs and 7 strikeouts. However, the White Sox have been crushing lefties in the last month. They're number 1 in team OPS. So do I think they're going to go back-to-back games against Rodriguez without really doing too much damage? I don't think so. I know the Tigers' offense isn't really trustworthy these days, but it has been getting a little bit better, I will say, especially against right-handed pitching. So I'm going to take a shot here with the over in this Tigers-White Sox ballgame. In our next game, we head to Coors Field as the Padres take on the Rockies. Ryan Feltner and Sean Manaea are the projected starters. Sean Manaea has really had a disappointing season with his new team in San Diego. Overall, an ERA at 5.18, and he's given up 5 home runs in the month of September already, with that 8.71 ERA in the month of September. So, going at Coors Field, not usually a place to fix things, and although he had success in his first start, his only start at Coors Field this year, I still think this Rockies lineup is good enough against lefties to get some runs on them early on. The Rockies overall in the last 30 days are ranked 6th in the league in isolated power against lefties and number 9 in team OPS. Most of those good numbers are from their home games. They don't really do too much on the road, but at Coors Field, this is a good offense, and Ryan Feltner, an ERA above 6 himself this season. I do think he has a bright future at the major league level. I've seen that he's got pretty good strikeout stuff, and at the beginning of the year, he was above 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, but I just don't love what I'm seeing lately. Good amount of base hits, good amount of earned runs. The strikeout numbers have kind of been inconsistent, and he's also given up at least 1 home run in three of his last 5 games overall. This is a big game here for San Diego, and I do think they'll be able to score plenty of runs in this one. But rather than taking the Padres on the money line behind Manaea, I'm just going to take the over 11.5 runs in this one. In our next game, we see the Seattle Mariners taking on the Kansas City Royals. No official lineup for this one, so we're going to have to wait and see if these are the starters. But right now, I'm seeing Marco Gonzalez and Brady Singer. And, we're going to have to wait and see what the line is and what the money line price is. But Seattle really had a disappointing series in Oakland. The first game only putting up 1 base hit and 1 run. The second game only 1 more run. And then the third game, they had a nice lead early on. They blew that. And overall, this just hasn't been the greatest baseball for the Mariners this week. And, I think we can expect them to be pretty big favorites in this one, as they are the much better team in terms of their record. But Marco Gonzalez is not in very good form. The Royals have actually been pretty good against lefties offensively, at least better than what we were used to seeing from them in the beginning of the season. And Brady Singer's been their best starter in this rotation basically all season long. And coming off another good start against the Boston Red Sox, that one at Fenway Park, where he went 6 innings, no earned, and 5 strikeouts. He's missing a good amount of bats. He's been able to limit the home run ball for the most part, which is something that he struggled with in his career so far. But I think he's the much better starter. I think the Royals are in much better shape, and I think I'm going to take the Kansas City Royals here on the run line plus the 1.5 runs, and we'll have to see what the money line price is, but probably sprinkle a little bit on the money line as well. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Oakland Athletics. Chris Bassett and Cole Irvin are your starters. The Mets are big-time favorites, and I do think they put on a show here with Bassett returning to Oakland for the first time. He was a member of the Oakland A's for his entire career up until this season when he moved to the Mets in the offseason. And, I do think that he is a much better pitcher in this matchup. He's coming off a really good start against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the New York Mets, believe it or not, this is not a team that's been known to hit lefties very well this year, but lately they actually have. The team OPS numbers is still just inside the top 15 and ranked 14th with a 738 team OPS, which is about league average, but the isolated power number is inside the top 10, ranked 8th in the league. They don't strike out much. A 19.6% strikeout rate is one of the lower K rates as a team in that 30-day stretch, and I think the Mets pile up the runs here on Irvin. I think Bassett has a good start, and I think the Mets win this one comfortably. So give me the New York Mets laying the 1.5 runs on the road. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Carlos Rodon for San Francisco. No official starter for the Diamondbacks right now, so there's no official lineup for this game. But I do think this is going to be a lower scoring game overall. We got a couple of angles that I like. You've got San Francisco with a lefty on the mound here, facing a Diamondbacks lineup that has not been good against lefties really much at all lately. Their strikeout percentage is up there. Their team OPS is ranked right now 28th in the league in the last month. Isolated power is ranked 25th. So Carlos Rodon, one of the better lefties in the National League this season. I think he has a good start, but I don't love this Giants lineup because they're playing at Coors Field on Thursday afternoon against the Rockies. They get no days off, and then they go to Arizona, so they don't have time to adjust to that after that Coors Field altitude change. And I think there's going to be a big difference in this game for the Giants bats. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, maybe a 1 to 3 runs wins. So give me the under in this Giants D-backs ball game. In our final game of the night, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Jose Quintana and Andrew Heaney are the projected starters. Two lefties on the mound for this one. And Andrew Heaney, 4 innings, no earned runs, 8 strikeouts in his last start against the Giants. Jose Quintana, coming off a really good start himself, 8 innings, 6 strikeouts, and no earned against the Reds. The thing that concerns me about the Cardinals in this game, they didn't really look great in that Padres series, but Jose Quintana's last 9 starts, only one of those games was against a winning team, a team with a winning record. He faced the Cubs, the Rockies twice, the Reds twice, the D-backs, the Pirates, the Nationals, and then the Braves. In that Braves start, where the only team that had a winning record, he went 5 innings, 7 base hits, 4 total runs, and 3 strikeouts, 2 walks allowed as well. And now you're facing a Dodgers lineup that's number 2 in the league in team OPS against lefties in the last month. They're in the top 10 in isolated power against lefties during that stretch as well. They've got a very low strikeout rate against lefties. And, the Cardinals haven't really done well against the NL West as of late, you could say. So, Andrew Heaney, kind of a similar pitcher to Blake Snell. And we saw Blake Snell dominate this Cardinals lineup a few days ago where he had a no-hitter going into the 7th. He had 13 strikeouts in that one. So I just don't love this matchup here for the Cardinals on the West Coast trip. Give me the Los Angeles Dodgers on the run line to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday, September 23rd. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball plays in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. And don't forget to check out the NFL edition of Ron's Rundown. We go over all the games in Week 3 of the NFL season. I'll put a link in the comments section below. Alrighty, good luck, everybody. I'll see you soon. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.